I'd like to call the meeting to order. Standing meeting 1677. Standing reports, approval of the school committee minutes for 1675. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Does anybody have any corrections? Not seeing any. Roll call vote. Kim?
Yes.
Julie?
Abstain.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Carl?
I have to abstain. I shouldn't have made the motion. I wasn't at the October 24th meeting. But I will vote yes on the November 25th meeting.
Okay.
But I have to
you.
abstain from voting on the October 24th.
October 24th.
Kyle?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
And Art? Yes. Okay, October 24th meeting, 1676,
It should be the November
and
25th.
November 25th. Can I have a,
Oh, okay.
So moved.
Yeah, yeah.
Second.
There's 3 meetings. Okay.
Kim and Art. Kim and
Kim and
Carl.
Carl,
Yes.
or Jim? Roll call, does anybody have any comments?
Just need to correct my middle initial, just delete it. It's M, not H, so just take the middle initial out.
Anybody have anything else? Seeing nothing? Kim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
No, all set. Receipt of correspondence. I don't have anything.
I don't believe so.
Enrollment report.
Well, they tricked me this time. It's 2C in your packet. And we have an increase of 4 students, so we're at 616 as of 12/1.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do. Do you know, Beth, where those 4 come from? I mean, are they new students to the district?
Yes,
All 4 are?
yes.
Okay.
Actually, there's 5 total and 1 that,
A total of 5 new and 1 who left.
correct.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, student representative report.
Hello, my name is Marin Schoonmaker. I am the 10th grade class representative. And in school, we're having Spirit Week next week. I don't remember exactly which day it is, but it's to commemorate the holiday and the break that we have for Christmas. The senior luncheon was last week. It was very successful. Everybody helped out. Faculty and students were very excited to have everybody come from the community. The band concerts for middle and high school were this week. I was attending my high school concert, and my brother was attending his middle school concert. Christmas break is next week. We're all very excited about that. Not next week, but after that. Pep rally and fun day on Friday, the day before Christmas break. Very exciting. All the students will be able to participate in different activities throughout the day, and we'll have a pep rally at the end of the day. Food drive is happening for, I'm pretty sure, the Interact Club, and advisories are doing food for the food pantries. Basketball, swimming, and wrestling season have started as winter sports. Student council positions are filled for both middle school and high school, and we meet regularly to discuss topics about the school and the community. And classes and clubs are fundraising for this semester.
Thank you. Any
I have
questions?
a question. Thank you for being here. The student council, is the student council different from, I'm sure I answered my own question, or if I thought about it, I would have. Is the student council and the school council two separate organizations?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are the members of any of the members of the student council part of the school council?
I'm not sure. Are they?
No.
No.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll just, thank you very much for your report, and your concert was wonderful last night.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Moving on.
Thank you,
you.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Student spotlight.
Mr. Miller.
So in the elementary world, last Tuesday evening, we had our inaugural Tech Take-Apart Night. School committee members were invited as well. This was our first, but it's going to be a ongoing tradition. We had about 60 kids who had signed up 48 hours before, and then the day before with reminders, we got in total about 200 people. So it was really well attended, all things considered. Mr. Bartlett was there, and I think maybe taking apart some tech even more. Oh, and I interviewed a few students about it here, and I'm sharing a few photos. It's been over our social media accounts and so on. We also had faculty and staff who organized it. Claudia Mallory and Jane Scher did the lion's share, but then Liz O'Donnell and some other staff as well. We had teachers from both buildings who were here. And it was really just a fun way to get parents together. It was by far, percentage-wise, the greatest amount of fathers that we've had at an elementary event yet, so keep note. And let's hear the kids.
My name is Jackson. I'm in second grade.
What'd you take apart for take apart then?
I took apart a printer with Mason.
Oh, cool. What tools did you use?
A screwdriver and a star nut. Like a few batteries and a lot of ink went all over our hands.
Would you do it again if you had another opportunity?
Definitely, yeah. My name is Logan, and I took apart a TV and a spot.
Oh, you took apart the huge TV?
Yeah, no, the small one.
Oh, did you have any help?
Yeah, from my brother and my dad.
Oh, nice. Okay, what tools did you guys use?
A screwdrivers, and that's it.
Okay, what'd you find inside?
Lots of green things like batteries, and it was really cool.
Cool, awesome. If you had another opportunity to do it, would you?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Hi, my name is Bryce. I'm in second grade, and I tried to take apart an Xbox controller, but it didn't work. So I got this like Wi-Fi thing.
A router? Yeah.
I took apart a router, and I found a motherboard.
Okay, did you use any special tools?
Screwdrivers.
Yeah.
Big on the screwdriver.
And if you had another chance to do this, would you come back?
Yes. Hello, my name is Eliana, and I am in second grade. Screws, and what we found in it was lots of buttons.
Yeah.
We
When you say we, who did you do it with? Did you do it with your family?
we did it with my sister and my brother, my baby brother, and my dad and mom. And what we found in it, we found lots of buttons. We brought some buttons home so we could play with it like a fidget.
Oh, we also brought home what we took apart. Cool. And if we did this again, would you come back?
Yes.
Awesome.
My name is Georgia Palmer, and I'm in Miss Shu's class in 5th grade.
Great. And what did you take apart for tech take-apart?
I took apart an electric screwdriver because my dad thought it'd be really funny to take apart something that helps you put stuff together.
An old-fashioned phone with no phone.
Okay, and where do you take it apart?
I don't know what they're called.
Did you bring tools or use tools that were provided?
Bring to us.
Okay, if we had another tech take apart night, would you come?
Yeah.
Great.
And then we have a few photos. Yep. So we used both cafeterias because we had overflow and so people could spread out. And in addition to some tools, Claudia Mallory also provided some instructions and type of things that they would find inside. And a lot of the feedback we also had in exit survey as people left was that a lot of the taken apart materials did get brought home and kids continue to take stuff apart at home, which is part of the plan.
Charles?
Yeah.
Two questions. One, do you think you'll do it again?
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
And would you want any, start building an arsenal when of things to take apart?
You know, that was probably the easiest part. We got tons of donated materials and so on.
Darn, I can't get rid of
Yeah.
my old phones.
No,
with-
no,
No, I want to give you a printer and a flat screen TV.
We got everything.
I'd like them to put
Great.
it back together.
And then one of the most coveted items was the leaf blower. And then was an electric saw you guys took apart?
Chainsaw over there.
I took one first, but part of it was a little too rusted out to get apart.
Toaster, I mean, it, ran the gamut. It was quite a diversity of materials.
And do you think the person who did the router could come to my house and take care of
Perhaps.
mine?
Yes, yes.
Will you take like unique items? Because I got a pressure washer that just died.
Yeah, well, and also I think one thing we would do not do differently, but build upon, is create categories of things. Because I think, especially for those older kids who really want to tinker and not just take apart, but learn about how things work, there's specific items we might try to get. So, thank you.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment. Do we have any public this evening? Seeing none. Business managers report.
Marlene is with us.
Yeah, good evening. I'm seeking approval regarding the cost associated with the December 12th health insurance warrants, vendor warrants, and payroll warrants.
6A. Here we go.
Where is that in the packet?
6A.
It's on the back of the last page.
Oh, okay.
We've double-sided it for efficiency.
Save it.
6A, keep going.
I can't find it, but-
It's in
On
the,
the
a
back
little
of
more
the
in the middle.
enrollment.
10 is.
It's right before Sandy's report.
I ask if we could have one of those elementary school students teach me what comes after 5. Okay. I move approval of the, did someone do this already? No, I move approval of the warrants.
I second.
Identify themselves after. Go ahead, finish this and then I'll tell you.
No comments? Can I have a roll call vote? Kim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes?
Bonnie?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes?
Kim?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes again.
Miguel?
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you. And
And you.
And me.
I've been asked to have TBW identified. You have to, for the notes,
Oh,
you have to ask the person to.
Oh, they're gone now. Oh, no, they're there.
Chris, can you ask, we need for the record identification of who TBW is? I would think so, but.
No, you have to.
request that or not?
There
I
she
was gonna
is.
say, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Tara.
I knew, but I just,
Yeah.
for the record, it's, thank you. Okay, donation? Do you want me, Marlene, you want to, okay, I'll do it. So also in your packet, on 6B, we're asking to accept a donation to the Southern Berkshire Regional School District Culinary Program in the amount of $500. It's not in your packet. We'll stop looking, thank you.
There is no, so I was gonna say.
There is a 6B though, vote to, see where it says underneath, you don't have the actual copy, but you can see that that's what we need to accept, the donation to the culinary program for the senior luncheon.
I'm sorry, who was that from?
It's from Marie Kane.
Marie Cannons.
I make a motion to accept the $500.
Second.
Roll call vote. Kim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
And myself. Thank you.
I don't believe we have,
Any budget transfers?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay, chairman's report. So,
Sorry, who's that? I keep getting in and out of the meeting.
Oh,
I'm
dear.
sorry. That-
No worries, I think we're good, right? No transfers?
Trey.
Okay.
thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, there was delay, your turn.
That's fine. So, I'd like to mention the play that was put on here was just absolutely phenomenal. It was, before the last meeting, but yeah, it was truly awesome. I enjoyed it, and I encourage everybody to go see everything that goes on here because the children are just absolutely fantastic. The culinary, or the senior citizen luncheon, I helped on Friday a little bit. It was nice to see everybody, and there was about 100+ people that attended. It went off brilliantly, and everybody had a good time. A couple of housekeeping items. If you don't have your phone number and email into Michelle, please do so we can get that out to everybody. One other thing, I'd like to, if we could, make sure you raise your hand so we don't talk over people, and we haven't been in a very good habit of doing that. So I'd like to try to get into the habit of doing that if we could. And I think that's it for me. I didn't get a chance to go to the musical or to the chorus and everything last night, but I would have liked to. Carl?
Kim beat me to the hand raising.
For new people, do they have to actually activate their email before they receive emails on the school accounts? Because I've sent out emails, and I don't think Miguel got the ones I've sent out.
I've been a little bit delayed last
Okay.
week, but I'm just starting to respond.
Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't like an activation thing.
No, I'm activated. I have my email open.
Okay.
No, I'm just busy with work last week.
My question is sort of related. I understand the need for phone numbers, but aren't all of our email addresses our first initial, our last name at sbrsd.org?
We just want to get a contact sheet
Oh,
together.
okay. But that's the email we should be using
Yes.
for anything that's related to school business, and not if we have another email account that isn't related. That shouldn't be part of the record, correct?
We
I mean,
would
it could
advise
be, but
against it.
Pardon me?
We would advise against it.
Yeah, okay.
Because then it's discoverable, so.
Okay. Superintendent's report.
Okay, well, I would have said the same thing. There's been a lot of wonderful activities. I was able to attend the senior citizen luncheon. I was at all of the concerts this week. Tomorrow, we're doing our superintendent advisory councils, which is a combined effort for several hours, where we're going to be really working on our act of kindness for the month of December before the holidays. So we're going to be busy and covered in glitter tomorrow. So looking forward to that. A lot of energy. Going to eat my Wheaties for that one. And the only other thing I will talk about now is the Project 211, which I have is the opportunity to advocate for rural school aid. And I think the two big asks that the group has been talking about are looking at fully funding rural aid in the short term, and in the long term, establishing a commission so that the funding formula can be looked at and improved, hopefully, for everyone across the Commonwealth. So I've been working on the Project 211 and sharing it with the communities through my seat on the board of directors of the Mass Association of Regional Schools. But Bonnie has been working on it. Please, I can't remember the name of the group.
All right.
Thank you.
MASC.
Yep.
Rural Schools Committee.
Okay. And we're tag teaming right now because we didn't get it on the agenda that way, but she has an update from her committee that I think is relevant to sharing right now, if you'll permit that.
Certainly.
Thank you. So this started out with a push that we would have, and I'm looking at Nancy because Nancy's been involved with the larger group. And it's people who really advocating for the needs of the rural schools. And the two leaders, Martha Thurber and Jessica Corwin, have really taken a strong lead in getting the word out. At this point, and I'm really happy it really coincides with what Mars decided, is rather than all the push for things related to transportation, related to changing other codes, the move now is just to get the $60 million totally funded for next year. What was asked for, and this just happened this past week, when I got another update, what happened is they put together a smaller group. It's Jessica, Martha, two other people who I just met from the group, and myself. And it's become like real political action. And as you know, Joe Comerford has taken the lead in terms of reintroducing the bill that never got to the floor. The idea is to make sure that this bill gets there as soon as January dawns, and that we push for the $60 million. And at this point, they sent out a draft letter for us to send to Maura Healy. We can do this definitely as individuals, but if you would accept it, Art, that we have a motion that it be a draft letter be looked at by our school committee, not postpone it. They want it in, that's the problem. They want it in before the break for Christmas and other holidays. And it advocates clearing everything else out. Unique needs of rural districts, we need that $60 million. And I would hope that you would trust that I'm not leading you astray on that. My problem is, I'll rely on Chris. It will not allow me, they gave the sample letter. It's not allowing me to transfer it.
Do you want her to read it?
To copy it. So do you think you could help me with that? It's like completely locked. So that's what I'd like, that we could work and get it out before we break the letter. And at the same time, if individuals, the request yesterday was if we can get this word out in our communities, so that I know we have people who are really strongly, and our town leaders understanding how desperate if we can get it out. And most of us have connections with our town elected officials to see if they would get a similar letter out for the $60 million. My last word on this, it keeps it much cleaner to just concentrate on the 60 million rather than getting involved at this point in trying to get all the other things that are on the agenda for the rural schools. So, if anyone has any questions, or if we go ahead.
Nancy?
I also want to say, I'm also on that subcommittee, and the letter that went out from the template is pretty easy to follow. And I've already sent out, to Paul Mark, who's used to hearing from me, and generally he gets back to you pretty quickly saying thank you, so that I think that to get it out to community members as well is probably a good thing. We could certainly do education on how to fill those in if that's needed. So just put that out as an idea for the school committee to consider as well. Some way to get it out to, whether it's through Beth's weekly newsletter or something like that. It's easy to do, and the responses have been great. There is a list of legislators to send them to. I've only heard back from Paul, but then he's tired of hearing from me, so he figures if he gets back to me, it'll be done with me. But yeah, it's easy to do, and I'm certainly happy to work with people on that if there's interest in including that.
And once Magic Man Chris unlocks this, I'll can pass along all the other connections.
Would you like to read the letter so we can move forward? Or is it?
You want to hear the whole letter?
Is it really long?
Stop me when you get tired of it. How about that?
How many pages?
No, it's just a little over one.
Paragraphs.
It is, this is the way it stands now. Governor Maura Healey, as co-chairs, we wouldn't be writing this, of the Massachusetts Association of School Committees Rural School Committee, we are writing to encourage you to recognize the tremendous financial strains currently faced by rural school districts in Massachusetts by including a substantial increase in direct aid to rural school districts in your FY26 budget. No fewer than 4 recent state and legislative commissions have chronicled the crisis facing rural schools, and each has concluded that rural school districts are seriously under-resourced and underfunded. The most recent of these, the Commission on the Fiscal Health of Rural School Districts, was created by the 2019 Student Opportunities Act and issued its final report more than 2 years ago. It recommended, among many things, the annual funding of rural school aid at a minimum of $60 million. Why? Most succinctly, because rural school districts cannot benefit from the economies of scale assumed in the purely enrollment-based formula that determines the distribution of Chapter 70 education aid. It costs almost 23% more per student to pay for a basic education in small rural districts than in districts with the 2,500 students assumed by the Chapter 70 formula. Retirement costs are 17% higher, special education costs are 22% higher, and administrative costs are 41% higher. While appropriated, rural aid reached $16 million in FY25, for which rural school districts are most grateful. It remains far less than adequate to truly address these issues. We are appreciative of your strong support for funding of the SOA. However, to date, less than 1% of the additional funding provided to districts by the SOA has gone to rural school districts, despite these districts enrolling 4.6% of the state's population. So less than 1%, we've got almost 5%. Almost all rural districts are minimum aid districts, meaning that Chapter 70 state education funding remains virtually flat, while fixed costs, many of which do not decline in tandem with student enrollment, push operating budgets up significantly. This has left rural towns and their beleaguered property taxpayers to make up the difference. These are towns that already devote 55 to 60% of their operating budgets to education. We know that here. That's my editorializing.
Yeah.
Have some of the state's highest property tax rates and are bumping up against their levy limits. We strongly urge you to propose in your FY26 budget a rural aid appropriation of at least $30 million as an interim step to achieving the full $60 million recommended by the Rural Schools Commission. This was sent out before the group decided go for the $60 million. But if Mars decided differently, we could, whatever, if it's a joint one, all right. Okay, this is the modest ask in light of the overwhelming need and the dire fiscal straits faced by rural communities from the Berkshires to Cape Cod. The Commonwealth has the revenue to make this investment. $30 million represents only 2.3% of the $2.3 billion raised by the Fair Share Amendment in FY23. Indeed, funding the full $60 million would represent only 4.6% of these revenues. Rural schools are doing their part. Many have cut academic programs, extracurricular activities, and staffing. They have regionalized and they have shared services with nearby districts where geographically possible. They have closed local schools that for generations have been the center of community life. Rural school districts and rural students need your help to achieve the goal you set forth in your inaugural address, to make Massachusetts a place where every child can reach their potential and receive not just an education, but the best education. The time to act is now. Thank you truly for your service and consideration. And it was signed by Martha Thurber and Jessica Corwin as co-chairs of the MASC Rural School Committee. And that be it. Jessica comes from Sunderland and Martha comes from Mohawk. All right, so that's the picture.
So may I add just a little bit to that? So we were supposed to have the Mars contingency focused on Project 211 was originally supposed to meet tomorrow morning, and they have moved it to Monday. So I'm assuming that we're going to get the same pitch to do some type of communication. I don't know if it's going to be that letter or something similar, an advocacy position. They did say that they needed school districts or anyone who was interested in doing so, we would need that support prior to the break, because by that time the bills are already being sent in, and they felt very strongly that we should be ahead of that with our advocacy. So if there's a way that the committee would trust that we would do a combination of that on behalf of this committee, we could submit that letter.
And it doesn't stop each of us from writing, as Nancy has, on our own in order to push for this.
So I'm willing to make a motion, and do we want to authorize Bonnie, the superintendent, or Art, or who on the committee's behalf
Well,
to?
it would have to be, I'm sorry.
No, but I mean,
Beth
if we have a
and-
letter like this, and if there's any, like, local data to incorporate, or, you know what I mean, who, I want to make the motion to authorize somebody to do that letter on behalf of the school committee. Would it be Art as chair? Bonnie as the subcommittee member? How would we want to do
My
that?
suggestion would be that, Art, we would put in the motion the chair or his designee, and that covers us.
I make a motion that we authorize our chairman or his designee ability to craft this letter to get it
With the superintendent.
to the governor's office in a timely fashion.
Second.
Okay, does anybody have any comments?
I just want to say one more thing about her.
Yep,
I do have a simpler version that Jessica sent out when the ask for the 60 million versus the 30 million to start came out, so I can try and find that, and I'll send that on to you guys as well. The one that can be used by individuals, because that's a lot of wording for individuals, and I think that the shorter one is just as effective.
okay.
If there's interest in having that.
Are you gonna send that to Beth or Bonnie or both? Or all of us?
Or to all of them, yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right.
And you can be the designee because you're leading this, both of you are into this, so,
Yeah, we can definitely, but we have to vote first.
yep. Okay. Anybody have any more questions?
Questions relating, is that questions relating to the motion?
Yes. Kim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes?
Bonnie?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
Art? Yes.
Great.
It's unanimous.
Just one comment. At MASC, Carl unfortunately wasn't able to attend, and he's our delegate. And I pleaded the case, and they let me be the delegate. What was wonderful is Martha and Jessica made a whole plea for support from the entire delegate assembly. I think there may have been 3 people who didn't vote for it. So it's now really become clear that more people understand the plight of the rural schools.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'll close out my report there.
Okay.
Did you have a question?
I
Yep,
do, if
go
you're
ahead.
finished with your report.
I am.
Go ahead, Carl.
Okay. At our last meeting, the superintendent said that based on, well, probably based on Mass General Law and opinion of council, that the school committee was not required to approve the student handbook.
You're correct, yes. I did say that incorrectly.
Pardon me?
I did say that incorrectly.
You did say it incorrectly.
I said it was one, that there's one that, and I do have to do the mea culpa. There's one that you do have to approve and one that you don't have to approve. However, I present both, and I made the wrong
Well,
one.
I was spurred into some research action, and in fact, I reviewed the statute that you had alluded to, although you didn't cite it, and I'm not faulting you for that. But it is Chapter 71, Section 37H,
Yes.
which does talk about the student council, but it doesn't talk about approval. It talks about consultation. I then said, well, this is interesting because the word approve is not in there. So I did a sort of informal, although not so informal, survey of about 50 school districts within the Commonwealth. Of those, approximately 90% talked about in either their mission statement or within the student handbook itself, approval by the school committee.
Yeah.
About 10% of those 50 even mentioned the school council. Almost all of the handbooks, and in fact, in one town, Rentham, that's a town, yes.
Yeah.
Rentham had the words approved by the school committee on the front page, on the cover page of the student handbook in as large type as the wording school handbook. So and I also spoke to a lawyer, philosopher, educator that I know, who has been a principal and a superintendent, and he was firmly of the opinion that both logically and beyond that, and as a matter of common sense, it made sense for the school committee to approve the student handbook. And in fact, on the cover of our student handbook, it says approved by the school committee. It doesn't say in consultation with the school council. It says approved by the school committee. So someone who prepared that first page thought it was important to put that there. Or the possibility exists that they didn't think it was important to put it there anyway. There's really nothing in Massachusetts general law that talks about this definitively. And to quote or paraphrase Carl Sagan, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So I think that the school committee, in view of the fact that we have a subcommittee that is to review it prior to the beginning of the school year, I think while we don't have to require that the school committee review it, I think it makes good sense to do that. And this is not leading up to a motion. It's just my 2 cents.
So
Maybe make it 5 cents. I did a lot of work.
did apologize that I said the wrong
Oh,
handbook.
no. it's
However,
Yeah.
the point of it at the time wasn't that, which one it was that the practice has always been that the school committee sees both. They formally have to approve one. I said the wrong one. I apologize. I am saying I said the wrong one in the moment. But, so that is something we will continue to do, and I think we should do. But the student and which one is that? So the student and family, so the staff handbook is the one that we share with you, but we don't require a vote of the school committee.
Yeah,
That
no.
has been our practice. So.
Yeah, no, and I wasn't looking for an
Well,
apology.
you did a lot of research, so
No,
I
I
just
wasn't.
want to say I'm sorry about that because
Right.
I said the
No, but I
wrong
wasn't
thing.
looking for an apology. I just thought
Well,
that
you
my
got one,
position. Okay,
because you're
well,
correct. And so
okay.
I want to say it when I'm wrong. I appreciate that, but I feel bad that you did all that research. I could have cleared that right up, and I planned on it.
I probably would have done it anyway.
That's okay.
I'm retired, so, I sleep and I read.
Okay. Well, thank you for doing that.
I'm glad you had that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you for indulging me, by the way.
Do we have a director? Kim?
So what does that all mean? Do we have a committee? Correct.
We do have a committee.
And we're
Yep.
going to review the handbook. And then we're going to approve the handbook after we review it, as a whole committee. Okay,
No, but
No,
you've
that's
already
not-
you've already approved the handbook for this year.
right, but we're starting for next year because we got another school year coming.
The committee has to meet
Right.
first
Right.
and determine what its purposes
Yeah.
are and what parameters.
That's why I was looking for a little
Right.
clarification here.
So, yeah.
So, okay.
Okay. Director of Curriculum Instruction and Professional Development, do we have a report in that?
We don't, and we don't have the director tonight,
Right.
so we're going to move right on.
Right now. Director of Student Services report.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I just wanted to say welcome to the new members. I was able to be here on November 25th. Thank you for being here and for serving. I did put a report in here. I'm number 10. I came after 6A. Number 10.
Doing a little math.
But a couple of things I just wanted to talk about. The Department of Student Services, which is the department that I oversee, includes English language education, health services, integrated pre-kindergarten, and special education. And there's a lot of services that we provide to students throughout the district. I wanted just to talk about, and I've talked about this many, many times, but here we are again in another year getting ready to start budget season, and we are working very diligently to address the needs of our students, which often are academic and social emotional combined. And we're working closely with agencies that are local and with the great clinical team that we have in the district and all of the other employees. And we do have, I just want to be very clear, we have an increase in referrals to address those needs. The social emotional needs of students are impacting their ability to access the curriculum at times. So we do have 2 school psychologists who are diligently conducting evaluations, and we work together with our Massachusetts Tiered System of Supports team to come up with interventions that lead us in a direction either to not have an evaluation or to have an evaluation for our students. Many of our students do require interventions that include academic, reading, writing, math, those sorts of supports, but also clinical supports, including counseling. So I just wanted to put that out there. It continues to be a need. We work closely with our pediatricians' offices. They are finding it to be a need as well. If you were to have a conversation with our school physician, she would tell you this. I've had one recently. Fortunately, we have some wonderful resources here and people who can also guide us to work with our local agencies. So I just wanted to put that out there. We're doing some good work here, and we're able to provide a lot of services in our rural community right here in the school district. But it's just something that we need to continue to talk about and need to continue to support, because there is an increase in those needs for our students. And I'm sure you've heard about this in your own communities, in your own families, in your own circles. So I just wanted to mention that. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is that we continue to partner with United Way of Mass Bay. We have been doing this for 5 years, and they've supported a summer step-up program for pre-kindergarten to grade 2 students. They have really appreciated partnering with us as we have with them, and they've provided grant funding for our summer programming. They reached out to me a couple of months ago. I will say that they are a slow-moving group, but that's okay. They reached out and said, we have some more money. We would like to give you some more money. And I was like, great, that sounds awesome. And they said they'd get back to me, and they did a couple of weeks ago. And they are increasing the amount of funding that they offered for this past year's summer programming. And my hope is that they'll continue to be able to help us support our summer programming, because that early start is a really important place to put our attention, and we've been able to service quite a number of students. This year we had, I think, probably a record number of students at our elementary participate, and it's a jump start for the next year, and it's helps students not only with academics but social emotionally as well. So we're very appreciative for that relationship that we have going with United Way of Mass Bay. There's other things in the report, but you can certainly read it. It's titillating. Please take a read. And that's all for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did have a question.
I had a question too.
Sorry, you were first?
Yeah. I beat you by like this much.
Have at it.
No, I just wondered, do we do any partnering with Berkshire United Way?
So this just so happens to be the organization that oversees the funding.
Yeah.
But yes, we have done some partnering with Berkshire United Way, yes.
Yep.
And my question, you didn't speak about it, but I did read through the report before I got here, was on the pre-K program.
Yes.
And this came up for me earlier in the year when I was visiting all of our outlying schools when I first got on. And I was actually very surprised to see that the pre-K program starts as early as age 3.
It does.
And the drastic difference between that age 3 and almost 5.
Yes.
So I was curious, do you know off the top of your head how many 3-year-olds are in the program as compared to older children?
Oh boy, I wish I could tell you that right off the top of my head.
I just was curious.
I do believe that it's a relatively equal distribution, but I will bring that to you, for the next meeting.
Yeah.
I will tell you that because we have young children who developmentally have some needs, that we do keep a couple of spaces open, because we work with Pediatric Development Center, and we want to have spaces open if we have students with really particular needs. So that sometimes bumps up the number of 3-year-olds that we have in, because they're turning 3 throughout the year, obviously, right? But I will certainly bring those numbers back so that I can have something solid for you. we've increased over the course of the past few weeks. We've taken in a few other students. We're at capacity here at Undermountain. We just took in another student. I believe that took us to 11 over at New Marlboro. And our numbers are, I think, are they at 11? 11. So we feel 12 for pre-K is a solid number because of the types of needs that they have. But so we've grown, and here we are with just a couple spaces left.
And then the other question I had was the ratio between in-district students versus out-of-district
Yeah,
students.
we have a
in that
small
program.
number of out-of-district students, and they typically have older siblings that are already in the district. I don't know if we have any situation where that isn't the case. Maybe we did have one.
Maybe
That for
one.
pre-K that it would come to this table.
Yeah.
No, I just was curious.
Oh, is that what you were asking about, was pre-K?
Pre-K
Yes,
specifically.
pre-K, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wondered if there was predominantly more out-of-district in one particular schoolhouse versus another, because I know that we approved more, three for Egremont School.
Egremont.
It's purely out of
Right.
curiosity.
I will bring that to you. I'll bring
Okay.
all of that
Great.
information to you next time, okay?
Thank you.
Carl?
Just, not a question, but I'd just like to compliment and thank Sandy for her accompanying letter, which I think is Exhibit 10, which is very helpful to have, and well-written and concise and informative. So thank you for that. It's important.
You're welcome. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? New business. Request for authorization for Mr. Rappaport's 8th grade overnight trip to Washington DC for approximately 48 students.
So moved.
Second.
Anybody have any questions?
I just had a comment that I was really happy to see the continuation of this particular field trip. It's definitely a core memory for my crew, and though the one of the three that didn't get to do it is constantly reminded that he didn't get to do it, so I'm really happy to see this happening.
I will say ditto, but not one of my eliminating the children part.
I'll say
And
ditto that
also,
there's
I
30
can
and
tell you-
40-year-olds that did this 8th grade trip. But, yeah,
The
this is an
Sheffield
outstanding
Cultural
trip.
Council was so thrilled to hear that this is coming back. They had an application for more.
Carl, are you all set? I saw you looking for the,
No, I was the one who made the motion.
okay.
So if I wasn't set, I mean,
Okay, can I have a roll call
foolish
vote?
me.
Kim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes?
Carl?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
And Art, yes. Unanimous. Request for authorization for Mr. Rappaport's project Oceanology overnight trip for approximately 31 students from May 15th, 2025 to May 16th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Anybody have any questions? Seeing none, roll call vote. Kim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Nancy? Bonnie?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
And Art, yes. Vote to approve moving PD Day from May 20th, 25 to May 22nd, 2025.
So moved.
Oh,
Second?
So when we did the original ask back in the beginning of the year, we looked at the schedule for the testing and assessments that was happening, and we went in the wrong direction. We moved it from the 21st to the 20th, and we should have gone to the 22nd. So we're just asking to make that adjustment. to avoid any of the windows that might be happening.
Anybody have any questions? Seeing none, roll call vote. Kim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
Art, yes. MCAS presentation.
So we're
Ju-
gonna table that.
Julie's not here tonight, so we're gonna table that. Elementary and secondary school improvement plan.
So our principals will come on up and
Yeah. We're going to start with elementary. So for new members, past members will recognize our format. We have 3 goals on our school improvement plan. This is our roadmap for continuous improvement. It's something we work on internally and then also with our school councils, which consist of community members, parents, and staff. Sometimes people wear both hats, but you have to make sure you have the same ratio of parents and you have of staff. What you'll notice that's different this year, I'm going to highlight the main instructional priority, which came out of this process along with our district strategy for continuous improvement. And last spring, if Julie was here, she could be a little more articulate about it. We participated in the Leadership Acceleration, Learning Acceleration Network plan. That was a high-quality grant that we're coming to an end this year. But they had some TMTP literacy coaches who helped us form our instructional priority around literacy learning. Over the last couple of years, we've done a lot with implementing iReady as our math program, doing mathematical shifts, working with Mike Flynn on Mount Holyoke, and we've been very successful. Where we haven't seen the kind of improvement that we would like to see, and where we're focusing now is in literacy across kindergarten through 5th grade. What you'll notice in this document and our first priority this year is about implementing into reading and structural literacy. Structural literacy is just a way of describing the instructional approach to improving literacy learning in the early grades. Early grades are comprised of kindergarten through 2nd grade. Although obviously pre-K is preparing for it, really the focus there is the foundational skills in literacy learning, and those are phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and then comprehension. We have, like the Department of Secondary and Elementary Education, we've adopted a simple view of reading, which in simple terms combines decoding with comprehension, language comprehension, reading comprehension. And that is the evidence-proven best way to teach reading. Now, not everyone reads at the same pace, learns at the same pace and so on, but we do know that the research shows that if they have strong foundations in those early skills, they'll be more successful readers as they go. The other thing about this, obviously, is this priority is aligned with our overall goals to just create an atmosphere where kids love reading. And one thing I just want to bring again to the school committee that has been just incredible this year, it's been remarkable, is the United States Readers Program. And there's a variety of reasons. The equity piece is huge, that every kid, regardless of where they're coming from, brings those books home, but also the choice that they're choosing them. I have to say, I'm disappointed that it took 7 years for me to realize this in our district, but the other day, I had more kids reading on the school buses than I've ever seen across our district in my time here. And that's a direct result of it was our unboxing day for our 2nd round of United States Readers. So thank you for that. All right, questions? Yes?
You said disclaimer? No. What?
Disclaimer.
No, what was the other word that you used when you were?
No, I just said a lot of words. I also have a lawyer philosopher at home. She's in 2nd grade.
Yeah, she is. Yes, she is.
Okay, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah. Meaningful existential existence.
Lucky you.
I'm good, never mind.
I guess not a disclaimer.
No.
I said I was disappointed.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Trying to grab it, okay.
Yeah.
Playing word association.
It went right out of my head, in one ear and out the other.
I will, just reflecting on our improvement efforts, this is the theory, and it's a document that we update, and I'm also able to meet with ILT and teachers about it. But I think that it relies on the teachers to be the experts. And the professional development that we will continue to pursue will be based on conversations with them, because they're implementing, like I like to say, a curriculum is only as good as the instructor, right? And they're building those relationships with kids to make all learning meaningful. Yeah.
So just on the United States of Readers and my oldest daughter, Avery, has gotten books recently. I think they came out like last week or something.
Yeah.
And so she's required to do like 15 minutes of reading a night for class as part of her homework assignment. So we'll be like, go ahead and read, and sometimes she'll be like, can is 15 minutes up yet? This past week she's been going 20 minutes, 25.
Wow.
Not even asking. So, yeah. It's been good. Yeah.
That is great.
I have a comment, it's a little off,
Yeah.
but I've recently been reading about the neuropsychology of acquiring reading skills.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'm a nerd, and okay, but the complexity of what you're doing, the complexity of training children's minds, the phonemic awareness, the short-term memory skills, the orthographic awareness stuff is incredible, and getting teachers who are enthused about doing that with kids who are enthused about doing that is really a great accomplishment.
And I obviously always recognize the homeroom teachers, but I should also say we have a cohort of interventionists and support staff who do a terrific job as well.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone can be a reading teacher who's willing to sit down and do a reading job. They're, obviously the experts, but I had a meeting today with Sarah Hollering, who's one of our literacy coaches, and Christina Carlson, who's a first grade teacher, but also is a curriculum leader for ELA. And it was awesome to see the two of them just nerd it out in terms of how we're making progress on our benchmark assessments, the DIBELS, which is an early literacy assessment.
Yeah. Jim just triggered my question again. Have you noticed a change in terms of your faculty and their approach to reading?
To reading instruction?
Mm-hmm. And I'm talking, not the ones necessarily who are the reading specialists, but overall faculty.
I think, teaching reading, especially elementaries, has been critical long before I arrived here. And there's a wealth, I'd be remiss not to recognize there's a wealth of experience and knowledge. I think what I've seen in faculty is a shift that's aligned with kind of this move away from the Lucy Calkins cueing method and so on, and more of the science-based simple view of reading. But we started, sending the book bags home. Teachers are thrilled about the United States of Readers, and we're looking forward to building their classroom libraries as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you see like more expansion or like say vocabulary and maybe thought process and stuff for the kids that are taking reading seriously, like it's expanding more than if they hadn't been reading?
Absolutely, but it's not just reading, because some kids, especially reluctant readers, are those who have difficulty learning to read from maybe a language difference or maybe personality type or so on. I think that the knowledge gap, just being exposed to good read-alouds and a rich literary environment, can help them.
You really heard the cheer though when the truck pulled up the other day. You literally heard it. Like,
Really?
they're like, it's here, and you could hear it in the wings.
I have to mention, we're bringing back, and it's going to be part cookie walk, part book fair.
Yes.
This Sunday, lining the hallways, will be students and families, and we have 8 cases of scholastic books that will be available for purchase. And that's thanks to the PTO.
And to watch the students who spoke about Take Apart Day.
Yeah.
So often we had kids who were coming along years and years ago and they never spoke in front of people. And you're building such incredible technique for the students to understand I can express myself to a larger group.
right? You're another, we are, yeah.
It makes such a difference.
Okay. And the last two goals, the other one, we haven't abandoned our mathematical practices, so the second goal is about math. And the third one really is about community and connection, but this year's focus was on belonging. And that's something we have to emphasize at the beginning of the year, so when you have a chance. And if you have comments, I know Bonnie always sends me edits when she finds grammatical errors. Please give me comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Charles, could you tell us just the details of the cookie walk, what time and date?
I'm going to send you a formal invite.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Did you say Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday. Saturday we're setting up.
Saturday you're setting up.
Not with, there'll be no cookies on Saturday.
So it's Sunday.
It's
Yeah,
Sunday the
Sunday.
15th.
I put it in
Sunday.
my,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's 9:30 to 3 is the time.
Yeah, it's a large,
But
yeah.
we both have sent it out.
it was in my Monday newsletter and it's on the events
It's gonna be-
calendar.
School
So,
committee gets our weekly reminders, right?
yes,
Okay, so you'll get it tomorrow.
Okay.
but please come.
All right, so the Mount Everett School Improvement Plan. The three goals that we chose, I'm going to talk a little bit about studio. We also have a goal around our internship program. And then lastly, a goal around our PD pathways that we're using with the secondary staff. Similar to what Charles said, we have discussions with our school council made up of teachers and parents. We have at the secondary level an FAC, which is the Faculty Advisory Council, which is really the department heads and like the middle school team leader. We have discussions there as well as with the full staff. So I'll talk a little bit about the goal one we have, which is studio. So as I've said before here, when we got together with Transcend last year, the idea was to, what are the things we're thinking about on how we transform education. And one of the big things that came up for the students and also for the community was the idea of relevance in studies. And I think what Studio has allowed us to do is to give students the opportunity to be more engaged because they take more ownership as they lead their own learning. And anyone who's snuck into that class that we have that John Hamill's running around home design and construction can see that those kids are really running the class. And he kind of sits back as the facilitator and steps in when he has to. And when he doesn't, he just watches what happens. And they have gotten pretty far in terms of what they would like to do around possibly having workforce housing, either here on campus or on land in Sheffield. Their first big culminating thing is to present at school committee, which we're hoping happens in January. And they're preparing a presentation for sort of where they are now. When we talk about the things that we want to accomplish in terms of giving students choice and voice, the 7 students that are in it really show like what's possible if we sort of just let go of the reins and let them sort of take it over. And there's some beautifulness in the times that they get frustrated with each other and are ready to throw in the towel. And then there's beauty in when it all comes back together as a team and they realize, oh, we were down the wrong path. Let's put it back together. So there's a lot of 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward. We're getting now to the sweet spot that we were hoping for, which is they're starting to make connections as to, hey, if we're going to do this, what community participants do we need? What community people do we need to contact? They've started some conversations with officials in Sheffield in the hopes of either getting a meeting together this week or possibly next week. And just the idea of like, if we're really going to go forward, what does this entail? They have some really big ideas about sort of dabbling in some of the things you would do when you build a house. So some small plumbing, electrical type projects that they can do. So as they start to really plan and figure out like how much does this cost, doing a little bit of the work to say, okay, you know, this is what this might need and things like that. Our goal with Studio is much bigger than just this one studio class. Like we're hoping to run a couple others. Right now we have in the spring slated for a class that might have a handful of ninth graders who are interested in studio as more of an open studio. And the whole idea is that they start with sort of a problem of practice and then work towards whatever it is. As opposed to maybe some of the other things we've done in the past, which is, hey, this is my passion, I'm going to go with it. They start with the problem first and then figure out sort of what's the plan. So it's kind of that backwards design of education. And then I'm really excited about some of the work we're doing with some of our coaches. We have Building 21 and Transcend. In working with some of our specialist teachers and middle school teachers who are using philosophies of studio in their classes. So it's not a complete studio, but really at the middle school level, prepping kids for the idea of this is what you would do in a studio with smaller pilot projects where they kind of come up with something and then work from there. We're seeing it right now with one of our 8th grade groups who are working on a philanthropy project, which is really cool. And so when given the chance to like solve a problem of practice, their big thing was around gratitude, and we'd like to pitch in and do some stuff. And so now I got kids running all over the place, cleaning classrooms and washing windows and doing things like that, because not so much they saw the need of, hey, that's dirty, we need to clean it, but like, hey, this is our school, we want to pitch in. And so this is like one of the gratitude things that they did. It's exciting for me to watch as sort of an outsider when I'm not in the class all the time, because the kids are just excited about it, and it's just a different way than they've kind of done before. And we're seeing it with some of the people who are working with us in that PD pathway, just finding ways in certain classes, our wellness classes, culinary arts, that they can use these philosophies to sort of grow that idea of letting kids sort of lead their learning. And I put in a whole bunch of stuff around strategic objectives and the action steps we're taking, and this is really the foundation of what we hope this becomes in terms of how kids get credit and how we meet standards. And that's really the hard part of this, is as you frame this, it's all great to say kids are leading their education, but like, where are we going? And how do they get to those standards they have to hit? And so part of what John Hamill's doing with the kids is recognizing some of what they're doing in class and what standards it hits based on where kids want to get credit. So, it's not just, hey, we're going to build a house so it fits into our vocational studies. It's even, I have one student doing it as science credit. And so a lot of what they're doing is tied to some of the different science credits around some of the things in the environment and some of the things that go around architecture and things like that. So it's really neat. We're really excited about it. And, I'm interested to see kind of where we go with it as we continue to build it. Yes?
Could you, you were talking about internship. Could you elaborate more on that?
So I think the big thing with internships is, obviously we've had internships for a long time. And the idea always behind the internship is helping kids figure out what's their passion and how does it tie to their future. So, as kids think about internship, sometimes they think about it as like, well, that's a privilege as I get older. Like, I don't have to spend the whole day in school. And so what we're trying to get kids to think about is, how does it connect to maybe what you want to do? And in some cases, what we've seen is they realize, wow, this isn't for me, whatever they're doing, or, wow, this is really for me. And in some cases, we've had kids do things that are like, this is not my future, but I'm really enjoying it, right? Like, we've had a couple kids the last couple of years who end up going to our childcare facility and working with the little kids there. And some of the kids are like, this is not really what I want to do, but this is great experience because I want to do this. One of them thinks she wants to be a nurse, and we had a girl 2 years ago who did it and wanted to be like an elementary teacher, but saw the need in childcare and was like, hey, I'll volunteer to go down there as my internship. And then we have some other kids who are actually out getting paid in professions that they think they're going to continue with next year after they graduate. And so those things are really exciting. Last year we had a student who got involved in a paid internship, and he's continuing to do that right now, and now getting certified in different things that go along with that. So the reason why we included it in this year's improvement plan is that when we went to the FG schedule, which is basically a college schedule with double periods, it really opened up some interesting opportunities in internship, because kids could do a 2-day early college class on Monday and Wednesday, and then they had Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday open for the internship, which in the old way we had done in a regular 7-period schedule. Most of the kids might do a 2-period internship, which was great, but they had to miss out on afternoon classes because it really didn't work in the same way, because those classes met every day. So this new schedule has opened up opportunities for some kids to do some internships and do those classes they want to take, and it's not a one or the other. And I think that's probably, along with getting the kids on a college schedule. We also have high school classes that run as these double blocks, so it's really allowed kids to take some of the classes they might not have been able to, but also opened up the internship. And so I think we have some more kids that traditionally might have said, you know what, I really want that class, and the internship was kind of secondary. Now they're allowed to do both. And so I think it's helped some kids to really dabble in maybe what their future could be. And I think I added in that one, but we've done a lot recently with what we call MyCap. Well, that's the term the state uses, but the lessons leading up to college and career preparedness. And so with MyCap, we'll do things in middle school where kids start to do the interest inventory and things like that at a young age to look at, okay, here's what I'm interested in. Oh, wow, here's a job cluster. And I had no idea that because I like video games, there's jobs in cybersecurity and things like that that are sort of connected. And we use Naviance as the platform. It's kind of the beauty of it, is that it opens kids' eyes to a lot of different things that are possibilities as maybe jobs. And then as they get older, we kind of really narrowed in, because they do like a personality inventory, they do a skills inventory. And I was in a classroom where our guidance counselor, Mr. Randall, and the English teacher, Miss Simpson, were talking to kids, and it was just funny. Kids were like, really? Asking the adults, do you think I'm like that? It says that I'm a leader and this and that. I don't really find that. And they're like, yeah, that kind of sums you up. And so it was just interesting as they really were self-reflective about what are my skills and how do they connect to my future, which then allows us, I think, to make more informed decisions with students about what do you think you want to do, and how can we find an internship that might help you get there. So, that's kind of where we're going with the internship.
Yep, go ahead.
And I think what you just said there was key. It's not only these academic skills, but these soft skills that they're getting in these, being self-reflective, huge skill, right, lifelong skill. And I think the kids are really noticing and commenting on those pieces that they're really surprised that they're getting in this little bit of a different, non-traditional experience. So I think that's been really
noticeable. I should mention, in 10th grade, as we lead up to Job Shadow Day, it's like the precursor to internships. So we do have some kids who are like, hey, I'll go do this for a day, and then all of a sudden it's, wow, that was pretty cool, and they start talking to their guidance counselor about, do you think I can do this as an internship next year? So I think we have more of a plan now, middle school through high school, in terms of how we lead kids when they make those decisions later on. Yeah.
Do you think, I don't know whether we can, the tools that Transcend used at the beginning, I think it was through Transcend, where the students were questioned and they, spoke, they told
survey,
their
the LEAP survey.
Their injury. So it might be interesting to look at it now, 2 years later, if the attitudes of students.
They are going to do it.
They are?
Yeah.
Great.
They do it again. They survey each year. So I think in the group that we were in last night, I'm sorry, I didn't ask to speak. I'm sorry. We had the design team meeting for the Transcend group last night, and one of the things I shared was that I was reading one of the papers for them. When they've been collecting data with the programs that they've been doing, and they have 50 or 60,000 students, which some of ours are in there, but you can see they did the LEAP survey in the beginning with where kids are, and then they have done the LEAP survey again, and that's those comparisons and the growth and the change in the overall attitude of students and their love of learning and their engagement has been really substantial, and that's what they're putting the stat on. So we're gonna do that second piece and then be able to compare that.
Because when we had that large group the first time, I think when we were presented with that information, people were commenting on students' engagement or lack of same. So that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Julie?
Question back on Burke Studio. How do the credits work? You said, heard you say something, one student's getting science credits. Are they getting them in different academic areas? And are, when, say, a student did decide to go on to college, how does that work in terms of number of credits you need for applying to college and that sort of thing?
So, like, we have our own local requirements, right?
Absolutely.
So for us, it's, 4 credits of English, 4 of math, 4 of social studies, and 3 of science. And then some of the electives fall under other categories that kids need. And so what we're trying with Burke Studio is we're allowing kids to say, okay, I would like to do it as this credit, and then they have to hit certain standards that go along with it. For these kids, we opened it up for juniors and seniors. It turned out that it's just seniors. Most of them don't need the credits. So for some of them, it's falling basically what we would put under like our vocational classes, like culinary arts and building structures, because it kind of fits nicely.
Okay.
And so for now, for some of those, we do have one student that I mentioned who's doing a science credit.
Yeah.
And so what she's hitting on are the standards in science.
No, I wondered when you said, we might have some ninth graders doing it, and I'm like, whoa, that's when you're building the core credits. So how does that work?
For those students, right now, we're looking at it as more elective credit, but as we move forward, it could possibly, like one of the things we talk about all the time are sometimes you have students who have a lack of engagement for 100 different reasons, but sometimes it's a particular struggle with a specific subject area. So is it possible that a child could get credit in English in a studio atmosphere? My answer would be yes.
Okay.
If you ask Transcend, they would say yes. If you ask Building 21, they would say, we helped start a school in Philadelphia that it's only studios. There are no classes, it's all studios. I think it's the way we build the class and the interactions with the teacher, like the conferencing and things like that. Are we there yet? No. But that's kind of like what we're looking at, like, is there a way that can be a place in what we try to do? And again, a lot of work to be done. Transcend's offered up the opportunity if we want to have some people, travel and go see some other schools in the way they do it there. I've had some conversations with some of the people from that school in Philadelphia, just in general about kind of the way you give credit in that way. Because as great as it sounds, logistically, there's a lot that goes on. Right. Because how can you say, like, well, that's the same experience as they would get there? And so we're working through that and figuring out, like, what's the best way. Because really what you want to show is you want students to be able to show mastery or proficiency in those standards if they're going to get the credit in that subject area.
Thank you.
So, yeah, work in progress with that, but I think it's exciting because it opens up some doors, I think, for some kids.
I have the same question that I'm really asking Joe. Have you seen the impact in terms of your overall faculty or percentage of the faculty?
I would say that's hard to answer. It's easier if I just look at what's going on with the pathways, because we do have a vast array of different subject area teachers who are interested in it and see value of those concepts in their rooms. So like we have a bunch of different people, middle school, wellness, culinary arts, who are like, this seems to be similar to what I do, but I like how they frame it, and you make those decisions. So the idea of like, in a culinary class of a student who's able to say, okay, we're selling meals and cookies and things like that. Well, what if we start and work backwards and say, what do we want to accomplish with this type of food? And so kind of that process, which is different than like, hey, what kind of cookie do you want to make this week? And so, that I think is exciting. And that group is, I think, 9 right now in that PD pathway, where when we started this process, it was really Mr. Hamilton. So, it's other people jumping on now who are excited about it. So, yeah, I think it's growing.
Carl?
Question. Jesse, does this studio model or the experimentation with it or the planning, doesn't it in somewhat reflect the Scandinavian model for teaching, where many classes, particularly in the upper grades, in Finland, Norway, Sweden, have very little homework, and much of the learning is done in groups like this that can be either in a designated building, in the home of a teacher. So, and they've had a lot of success with that. What?
We're not going to teachers' homes.
No, I'm not suggesting that, but that's part of
To your point, like some of that, the way, sort of the philosophy and how it gets done, I think there are a lot of similarities. I think one of the interesting things going into this, we weren't sure if studio was an individual thing, or a group thing, or a whole class thing.
Yes.
The way it played out in this home design class, where when they started, he gave them the opportunity to do whatever they wanted. He's like, do you want to group up in twos? Do you want to, half you work on one thing, half you work on the other? And in the end, they were all in it together. So like they started divvying up tasks, all working in the same direction. And I think it'll be interesting to see sort of how that works in each studio. Do they continue to say, our whole class is working on this? Or do we have some individual ones? Or in the case of, if we get up to 10 kids in a class, is it varied amongst? But I think that teamwork kind of concept that works in those countries, I think is there. And I think what I envision, if they're not all working together, they are all bouncing ideas off each other. I mean, it's funny, like Mr. Hamill does some work with internships too. And there's days when he'll have a kid in internship who's there doing work. And the next thing you know, they're working with the kids doing research on the studio. Like, it's just that atmosphere of like, hey, you're here, we need your help, jump on board. And they do it with the adults too. Yeah. And then when I come in to talk to them, they get mad at me if I take up too much time. Like, they're like, you gotta go. We only have an hour left. Thanks for sharing that.
Excuse me.
Yeah, just a quick comment. I think that that they have found, particularly in Finland, but also in the other countries, is that it is it works as being a really good antidote to student boredom.
Yes.
Without question, right? Because, again, it's changed so much in the last 10 or 15 years in terms of all the other things that distract in the world, right? Like social media, cell phones, computers, TV. Like there's so many things that are conflicting with what you're trying to accomplish in school that if kids are engaged, and by engaged I mean have ownership and feel like there's something at stake here for me, you get that engagement. And I think those countries have found in the way they've organized that there is no boredom because the kids are fired up about what they're doing and they're excited about every day. That's what we hope to get to in a lot of the programming we're doing right now, is that whatever it is, if it's early college, if it's innovation pathways, if it's a studio, that the kids are excited to come to school and they're excited to learn and they're fired up when they leave to come back the next day. And that's hopefully where we're going to get. All set? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you do have to vote to approve them, I just want to point that out.
Budget.
And both of them.
I would like to make a motion to approve both the elementary and secondary school improvement plans.
Second.
Roll call vote. Kim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
Art? Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for all the work that you put into those. It's quite a bit of work.
Yes.
Divided men and women.
Hmm?
All divided men and women.
For this week.
Next week it's gonna be alphabetical order.
Each week we should try to guess how he grouped us.
Well, I figured out it's not alphabetical.
For this week, we've gone by gender.
I'd always be first.
Something on that list, how would I go? Divided us.
I still didn't even notice, that's funny. You're right.
Okay, adoption of the budget calendar.
Move to adopt the budget calendar
Second.
as set forth in whatever exhibit number it is.
11F.
11F, yes.
I second.
I just
Stephanie?
have one quick question, comment. I don't know about anybody else, maybe it's just me, 5 o'clock meetings are forever and always going to be challenging for me. So that 1/9 finance committee meeting, I will be late unless we can.
129?
Yeah, unless we're willing to change that to a 5:30 start.
I can be willing to do that.
I'm also willing to come at 7:30 or 8 too, so.
AM?
AM.
Well, we're not, but thank you.
I say, man, that was old generous.
No, I appreciate it, but we try to also, because that the communities at night, like sometimes members of the finance committees come, so that's why we have it in the evening at the, but we'll just move it to 5:30.
Maybe I'm the only one who has a 5 o'clock stop, so.
No, you're not, but I'm not, what I did basically was follow the schedule the way it was and just update it for dates, but we can make modifications.
I have no issue changing 129 to 5:30.
Oh, the public hearing, just so you know, that day I can't change. It is 5 o'clock by the regional agreement, so
Oh.
we might just have to.
It's
Put
meant to
in-
be the hour before the school
It
committee,
is,
right? That's
it
what it
is.
says, yeah.
I shouldn't say that. We could do it. We could just make the school committee meeting later on
half
that
hour
day.
later.
Make it
If
at
that would be
6:30.
helpful. What do you feel about that?
That's fine.
That works for me.
Okay, let me make that adjustment here as well. I'll put this at 5:30 and then we'll just start that school committee meeting if the group agrees at 6:30.
You're looking at March 13th?
March 13th.
Do we have to change the calendar and vote on that?
I just did it. I'll just say as amended.
30,
Okay.
and this is
Yeah,
gonna be
this is
Wait.
voted on the budget.
Right,
So the school committee meeting is going to be at
6:30.
6:30
So I make
on
a
the...
motion to accept the budget calendar as amended.
Second.
Oh, Nancy?
Nancy?
Will we get reminders that the changes have been made?
You'll get an update and I'll send it back out. And it's
Okay, great.
posted on the website. So there's always a budget section on the website and the finance committee members, but the whole school committee will just get this sent to them.
I think I'm on the finance committee now, that's why I asked.
Okay, good news.
That's a 5:30.
Roll call vote. Kim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yeah.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes?
Kyle?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
And Art, yes.
It's cracking me up now every time.
No.
Now that we know.
It took us way longer than it should have, just for the record.
That's so funny.
January 23rd.
So then just Julie here? Up to G.
Could I have just a quick follow-up question, just kind of being new? The January 2nd to February 7th, that internal planning meetings, are school committee invited to come listen in on those, or that's just
No, this is
administration?
it's an opportunity for faculty and stuff during the day to.
Oh, okay.
We compile them as administrators, and on that night that you see, I think it is the 29th, that's the summation of that. So
Okay.
we just give them the opportunity to have their time
Okay.
to talk about what they want to do internally with administration.
Okay.
Vote to approve additional school committee meeting on January 23rd, 2025.
Second?
Second.
Anybody? Kim?
Do you want to talk about it?
I was thinking that maybe on that meeting, we make that our, like a working meeting, retreat meeting. because we always have difficulty scheduling that. So that would give us an opportunity, we can set the school committee goals, et cetera, while we're at that meeting, if it's a retreat meeting. And- 'cause-
Are you looking at me?
Yep.
Oh, okay, well, I don't know the answer to this, but I did speak with Liz LaFond in talking about maybe providing the opportunity to do charting the course as a group and having that done in a period. Or if that date, I don't know, she was calling back with actual dates for the retreat, but we needed to get another date on the calendar anyway in January. If not, we would have to come up with, which I also think might be the next agenda item, anyway, about when a good retreat would. If she can't do it on that day, we might pick another date to do a retreat. But for sure, it could be a working meeting or a workshop type of experience, whether or not she could do, as opposed to a school committee meeting, you know,
So
business meeting.
could we just modify the motion and say, based upon availability of the MASC regional consultant?
I still think we need a
Right.
retreat.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But it could be, no, we still need a meeting.
We still need a meeting and a, you know.
It might just not be, the retreat might not fit on that day,
Right.
that's all we're saying.
Oh, okay.
So we're adding the meeting and we might be adding another day.
If,
We're adding a meeting, we might be adding it as a
if she
retreat.
cannot come for that day.
Okay, roll call vote. Kim,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes?
Stephanie,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Bonnie,
Yes.
Carl. Yes. Kyle,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Miguel.
Yes.
And Art, yes. Now we'll move on to the retreat date.
I suggest January 23rd. If possible.
For sure.
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
So we just added.
Yeah.
I would
Do we need a
second
plan
that.
B?
Well, we don't know a Plan B until Liz LaFawn gets back to us. And I
Well,
think
that's true.
Plan B will have to be addressed at the next meeting.
okay.
My only question was that originally we were talking about dedicating like an entire Saturday to it, and if we're thinking like a retreat is a long meeting, that might be challenging for people to do in an evening, unless you're envisioning this not being like a full day situation,
It's-
more of like a standard meeting time. Got it.
I think the problem is having the availability for everybody to do a long period. And it just, when we tried to get there last time, it just didn't happen.
Got it.
So I think this
We-
gives us a
we
little
did
bit.
have a date.
We had a date, but
No.
it just didn't work out.
Got it.
So,
Thank you.
And if this doesn't happen, we're gonna have to have some kind of retreat
Right.
date.
Right.
We need to figure this out sooner rather than later.
All right. I
Yes.
think we just would have, well, in speaking with Liz, modify the goals of it. So if it's, instead of charting the course, it is a briefer one.
She's told me that she could fit charting the course into a, like a retreat night on the 23rd. She could fit that in.
So are we
So
talking
she'd
about
do like a
long-
3-hour or
It would
something?
be like 3 hours and we'll
Right,
feed you,
okay.
so, you know, keeping you all,
starting at 5:30.
so you can power through, power through.
That's okay.
Okay. Subcommittee reports, nothing on finance yet.
We
Com-
just did it.
We just, yeah. Community relations,
Nothing yet. We'll be getting together soon at the beginning of the new year. We'll be talking about the spring budget newsletter.
policy subcommittee.
Yeah, I think we're ready as soon as we hear from Liz, right?
Well, we did.
And we haven't yet, or we have?
We have.
We have.
Oh, and?
It, go ahead.
The contract had been just very, very slightly modified, and Beth's already run it through our attorney. And since I had started the process with the contract, there were like tiny edits and that's it, so it's going to be ready to sign. We probably, well, we had already authorized signing.
Correct.
So there's
Correct.
nothing to do.
So do we anticipate, or that, say, we would meet for the first time in January sometime
Yes.
next month?
So
Okay.
Yes.
what Liz said is, there's a requirement that we get all the documents to her, so she needed about a month. So she said end of January, beginning of February, and then it would be scheduled about approximately 1 month apart, and we'll
Uh-huh.
come up with a whole plan. So
Okay.
she'll be in contact
Yeah.
as soon as we're sending the information in to her now.
May I just add?
Yep.
Yeah. It's a 3-year contract. She doesn't anticipate it will take us the 3 years. The first part is not changed from what I had said previously. It will be taking everything that we currently have, loading it into their system, and they're able, I met at the conference with a woman who does a major part of this, and they're able to pop out the things that either may be in conflict with changes that have taken place in the past few years, or are aberrant because of the nature of a regional school district, or it doesn't fit in for some reason. And then it's anticipated that your policy committee would then be able to set up a 12-month calendar.
Okay.
But she's going to ask that that these are gonna be intense, not a half-hour meeting to go through the policies.
Uh-huh. That's what Bonnie, can I just
Yep,
make a
go ahead,
comment, a
Carl.
quick comment? Did anything Bonnie just said drive any members of the policy subcommittee away from it? These will be intense meetings that won't be just an hour. All right.
Policies.
This will not be a half-hour meeting.
Right?
And I just want to say, the contract itself isn't 3 years. How you divide the payment is over 3 years. The process will be in less time, but that's what the.
She definitely believes it'll be done. Yes.
Alrighty. Personnel and negotiations.
Okay, our first meeting will take place on the 19th, a week from today. And we are waiting on the 17th, the 5 towns will pick their representative to take Bob's place. So by the 19th, hopefully, we'll have our community member as well. So I think that's enough for now.
Okay. Superintendent Evaluation Subcommittee.
Well, we met, and we are going to meet again in January, discussing superintendent's goals and stuff like that. There's a new tool available to us to help us with the process of evaluation, getting the goals in, and bringing it all together, which will be reviewed and then brought before the whole school committee for approval, to see if that's what we would like to use. Another thing is, we took the school committee goals back out of superintendent evaluation and put it back into the school committee, because we felt that 4 people deciding the school committee goals wasn't really productive, and that we would, as a whole committee during retreat, would discuss the school committee goals. I think that's about it for now.
So can I make just a little edit to that?
Yep.
So we did have, the Newell tool, because the school committee had expressed a desire to find a new tool to use as opposed to the tool that we had been using, a little bit stronger is we are going to pilot this tool for this year. It's called Super Eval. There is a link. We had it ready so that we could watch it tonight, but in the interest of time, I'm happy to just send the link to the whole school committee so you can watch it at home with your own viewing pleasure, get some popcorn. It's really only about 5-7 minutes long, talking about what the tool is going to look like, because then afterwards, yeah, there it is. You're going to get that. And we're not going to do it today, though, right? How long is it?
A little less than 5.
Oh, see, a little less than 5 minutes. So you can do that. And then you'll see how the process will evolve for this particular year, and we'll have more details after that. But you'll get an invitation afterwards to it.
Just one suggestion, going back to the original, and they work differently with this new tool. The original reason to have the subcommittee look at the goals of the school committee was to be able to work with the superintendent. And not that it always went from that smaller committee to the larger, because what would happen is it took forever and ever with the whole.
Well, that's why I think we should discuss it as a whole through the retreat, so that we have a collective goal versus 3-4 people setting up school committee goals.
They didn't, just.
I'm just saying, that's what we decided in that
They
meeting,
didn't.
and that's where they are ending up, they're back here, so.
Oh, no, it always has to be back here.
No, but that's where they're gonna be decided, is back here,
Well, now that we have the retreat, it makes sense.
so,
Okay.
I'm good.
Carl, executive minutes?
Nothing to report.
All righty. Future agenda items?
We just talked about them. I think
Yep.
at the hope is that we're going to have our safety meeting, that we have our annual safety meeting with our community partners and our district-wide safety team in executive session with the school committee. So I don't know, it was gonna be at 5, so maybe we should say 5:30, and if everybody's happy with that, we could move the school committee. We're probably gonna need an hour prior, so if we need to move this to 5:30, then we could do that.
So in other words, begin the school committee meeting on that date at 5:30.
No, well, yes.
6.
I mean, you'll have the executive session of the school committee at 5:30, and then the actual school committee meeting at 6:30.
I'm sorry, I missed the date, what date?
It's the 9th. We already have a school committee meeting on the 9th, but we
Yes.
usually do this the hour
Right.
before.
Right.
But being sensitive to people's schedules, I think we'll have to adjust it to 5:30 if that's okay with everybody.
And we're going to put MCAS,
Correct, it'll just move to that day. That'll
that's
be,
going to be on the 9th.
it'll be on the 9th.
Okay. I don't see an executive session. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yeah. Julie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yeah.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
And Art, yes. Thank you.